Okay, so when it comes to speech delivery, this can be something that is a bit daunting for students, which I can definitely relate to. Um, this is probably a lot of students' worst part in terms of what they like least about the persuasive unit, having to stand up in front of people and deliver a speech in an engaging kind of way. So some top tips for nailing the presentation. Let's take a look. Gesture. So you need to be using your hands and your body. There's no reason to not prepare some easy gestures to use in your script and mark them on your notes if you need to as well to give you that little prompt so if you're nervous when you're delivering the speech, you can still remember to do these gestures. So there's lots of different gestures that you can use. If you want to emphasize how big something is, you can be spreading your arms out. So how small something is, you can be doing that kind of pinching motion to show something that's really small between your fingers. You can gesture to the audience to try and bring them into it, make them feel involved. You can count off. So maybe it's not one, but two, and you put your fingers out to show the one and then the two. Maybe you're counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you would be using your fingers to demonstrate that. There's lots of different examples that you can use, and those are just a few. Also, if you do have slides that you are delivering your speech in person rather than doing that recorded option, then gesturing to the slides can be helpful because ultimately the slides are really meant to complement what you're saying. So being able to integrate something where you are referring to the slides is just an indicator that you are making those slides really relevant and really complementary to your spoken content. Audience. One of the best things that you can do is practice in front of other people. You can grab your parents, your siblings, friends, tutor, even just pets as well, and get used to being in front of people when you're delivering your speech. And it's useful to get feedback if you can as well. Obviously not from your pet, but from those other sources. They can hopefully give you some honest advice on what you do well and what perhaps you can do better. Another option is to record yourself too, and that can be really effective. Peer marking. If going through your entire speech is nerve-wracking, which for many of us it will be, then find a section that you want feedback on and you can present it to a small group. It could be your peers or it could be one of those other sources that I just mentioned, like some members of your family. And if it is your peers, then they will hopefully be familiar with the task and they can give you some targeted feedback. And the pressure would be hopefully a little bit less intense when it comes to delivering the real speech for your assessment. Passive listening. So the best presentations are done by students who know their script well and are confident speaking it. And that can be easier said than done though. So record your presentation and listen to it as you do day-to-day tasks. That can really get it into your head and help you memorize it in an easy kind of way. When we think about the way that we listen to music and we can listen to it on repeat and then just learn the words really quickly, this can function like that a little bit. So it may not be as catchy as music, so it's going to be a little bit trickier than that, but it can still be really helpful. And it can also be a time saver doing this method as well, because you can do, as we say here, other tasks while listening to the speech. So multitasking. Know not only your script, but just the topic and important points that are relevant to what you're delivering. Know where you want to emphasize, where you want to use gestures, that kind of thing, where you want to change your tone to reflect the content that you're covering. So various things are going to be really emotional, maybe really outrageous, things like that, and your tone will change accordingly. So lowering the chance of nervous fidgets and dancing as well is something that just knowing your speech can help with. Recognize your habits and fight to stop them as well. So there's lots of things that we do when we're nervous that we don't even realize we're doing. So learning what those things are for you is a good way of then being able to be conscious of them and address them before your delivery day. And using those strategies we've looked at previously, getting peer marking, getting feedback from family and things like that, they can help you identify those things as well. Tone. Presentations are interesting when you modulate your voice. It shouldn't be monotone, the same tone that is across your entire speech. You want to sound, like I said before, sad, happy, angry, depending on the content. It needs to be targeted to what you're saying at the time. And that can help with making your audience feel the way you actually want them to. So, of course, you're going to be hopefully using that emotive language and all those strategies we've mentioned, but tone is just another way of adding to that to direct the audience to understand your position on what you're saying and how they should feel too. Pause. Never underestimate the value of pause when it comes to persuasion and just general kind of impact. Let the air hang and let the message sink in. When you've said something really impactful, then giving the audience a chance to absorb what that means, the magnitude of it, then that will be a great use of time. And it's really good to use pause after rhetorical questions as well, because the whole idea of a rhetorical question is you're getting your audience to think about something, and you want to give them the opportunity to actually do that without just continuing to speak and distracting them from the point that you just made. And also pausing is just a good way of centering yourself as well. As we know, we tend to speak faster when we are nervous. So if you are someone who's nervous, then consciously trying to pause is a good thing to do to slow yourself down and get a hold of yourself in your speech. Using the mirror, so practicing in the mirror as well. This can shed some light on your different habits, and it can allow you to practice those strategies you're going to use. You can think about your gestures, and remember you can actually use your face to gesture as well. You can be screwing up your face to show how awful something might be. You can be wiping tears from your face, or you could be pointing to your eyes to show, maybe you're saying to the audience that you are going to open their eyes to a really important issue, and you can gesture to your eyes to emphasize that point. And also the tone and the content. You want to be seeing what you look like. You want to be refining those strategies. And practicing in the mirror as well can make you aware of what you're doing more. So if you're someone who tends to fidget a lot and pace around a lot, you'll be able to see that in the mirror, and you'll be able to obviously notice that you're moving away from the mirror perhaps, and that will allow you to address that as well. And so anything that feels right, you can then replicate, and anything that feels wrong, you can refine it when you practice in the mirror. And this can also give you some confidence as well. It's can be a little bit awkward to do it in front of the mirror, but it's ultimately just you there. And if you're getting used to doing something that's a little bit strange just in front of yourself, then that's going to prepare you for what it's like to do something in front of an audience of more people.